Hello everyone, I am Chaos Wolf, and this is Ion Fury. This game was developed on the build engine, so if you've ever played games like Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, or Shadow Warrior, a lot of the speed tech is very similar, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. We select Campaign and First Blood. Okay. First level is very straightforward. We just click through that window, grab our key card, and we leave this room, then proceed to the exit. And you notice right away that we move diagonally all throughout the run, which is fairly consistent across most FPS games of the 90s. It's our fastest form of movement. And then into the second level, we do our first sequence break by triggering this explosion, and then I am going to set up the safety save as I do this next trick. Is known as a Sprite Boost, where basically sprites can push a player away, and what I do there is push that trash bag into the wall, and it will get detected on the next available... This guy should not be here. It will get detected on the next elevation, and it will take the player up there with us. Okay, this guy is not cooperating. There we go. He's dead. Oh my god. Okay. Going the original way around. That was really unfortunate he died. So that would have got me up there if that guy had been in the right spot. But anyway, continuing on. So doors that open vertically like this, we can crouch underneath and get through them much faster than normal. One thing I'll do a lot in this is known as reload canceling, where instead of waiting for that animation for the gun, we can press a series of buttons and cancel out the animation, continue firing. And for high jumps like this, we'd use something called a crouch jump, where at the height of your jump, you can hold down the crouch button, and that will lower Shelly's height. And I use it again for getting on top of this guy's head. Now these couple of rooms, we can approach the buttons on the wall there, holding down the E key, and we can activate them frame perfectly. This is something that wasn't really in older build engine games, so we're quite happy to have it. It's very useful for some other doors later in the game. Alright, now like this, the Sprite Boost that I performed earlier, what I do there is crouch down and strafe into that corner, and build engine just kind of has a bit of trouble with verticality, causes me to zip up and cuts out about half of this level. And now our goal is to activate these 3 generators. Step into the manager's office up here. These series of ladders, you can spam jump on them and you'll climb a little bit faster. Doesn't make a huge difference, but it does help. Right, and if you manage to get up here before this explosion goes off, then you're on pretty good pace, because you have to wait for that to clear to be able to get to keep progressing. All right, now we're coming up to the end of this zone. At first, we got a horde fight to deal with, and we can skip it entirely by doing a Really easy trick anybody can perform. So we take this potted plant. There we go. Take the potted plant and push it down the steps. And we grab our ion bow, which is our boss killer. We'll need it much later on.
Despite all your rage, you are still just a rat in a cage.
Right about there, I'm going to wait for the ship to clear out because that plant is very fragile. And just like that, that is the end of the first zone. Alright, for this map, some mappers like to put in backtracking sections. This one is normally only accessed on the other side, but we can set up this mine here in a very specific spot. The placement is very important, and the little bombs that come out can help trigger the explosion on the other side and help us get through, cutting out about 95% of that level. Alright, this level can be kind of dangerous as we go back and forth between that room. The enemies can kind of gather around, so that's why the shotgun is really good for clearing. And it looks like they were nice enough to leave the door open for us. I felt sorry for that mishap with the guy trying to jump on his head earlier. Alright, it looks like we're on a good cycle for this. Grab our blue key and now we can get out of here. Whoop. Okay, so I mentioned the strafe running. There's also another form of movement known as SR50, which is really a term from Doom, but it works essentially the same in Build Engine, and I used it there to get through that window before that shutter came down. So it's good for setting up tricks like that, and also for, as you'll see right in this area, these long straightaways. There's really not a lot of maneuvering. We can get a little bit of extra speed out of SR50. And we're grabbing our red key card and heading out of this area, and we're coming up already to the end of this zone, but we have our first real boss fight. Alright, just for a little bit extra safety, I'm grabbing that med kit. And another safety strat. It's not quite a straight line to do this, but we're gonna grab that armor. And just like that, that is the first boss down. What's going on there is, now game, the build engine doesn't really have any kind of headshot mechanic. So instead what the devs did was program something into, there's like a critical multiplier. The higher the taller the sprite is, the higher you aim up. And that hold fire the bow gun, ion bow, makes short work of that boss. And right here I was just
Welcome to my mode.
Hold on, had to trigger that. Making use of some geometry that was sticking out to climb up through there and clip up. And then we run a very specific route to avoid soft locking, otherwise this platform will not lower once we hit the switch. And unfortunately, this level's almost over. It's my favorite song in the entire game. And just like that, we're moving on. It's known as, it's called World Builder. I suggest giving it a listen on YouTube. Quite nice. Alright, for this level, as soon as this explosion clears, I'm gonna grab this keycard even though we don't really need it. What it does is trigger that explosion, giving us a straighter path to the exit. So first we need to turn the elevators back online. Okay. All right, now I'm readying up a trap for a couple of enemies that come out of a monster closet right here. We need this next area to be safe for the next trick, because it involves another potted plant. So this glass is really thin, but we need to create our own corner by pushing this plant into place. Because tricks like this work off of corners by strafing into them. And I don't think it's quite in the right spot. There we go. And there's another one we can exploit. And 6 of the yellow beams right there to avoid taking any damage. And now as the exit opens up, we're just grabbing some supplies out of that secret, and we're about to get introduced to a new enemy. It is known as a Wendigo, and it is quite tanky, very fast, does a lot of damage. But oh, he almost, it was up for just a frame, but he almost clipped into the elevator. Anyway, yeah, with the alt fire from the electrifier, you can stun them. Like, stop them dead in their tracks, and they'll prevent from slowing you down.
Ah, our guest of honor. The boys have been waiting for you. Ms. Harrison. I'm sure they'll show you a good time.
Right, and we got another boss fight to deal with. But if we stand in this corner, using the boss killer once again, aiming at a very specific spot, we can make short work of it. It's normally fought out there on that roof, so we still have to go in there to trigger the fireplace to turn around. And now we have about a minute elevator ride, so if there's anything to read out, like a donation or something, that would be a good time. Alright, so to explain the reload canceling again, so this is what it normally looks like, but we can, right there, that's the reload cancel, and then there's also a way to cancel the pump animation by holding down a series of buttons. And now we're heading off to the end of this zone. And what's interesting here is that if you look at the map, we're not actually in motion. The train is not moving. What's going on is that there is a green screen projection that's moving away from the player to give us the impression that we're in motion. And the same type of trick is used on the next level. Alright, so the train is pretty cramped. A lot of enemies that can get in your way and block you. You get introduced to, or at least in the speedrun, introduced to 2 new enemies. One of them is known as a deacon, which flies around, shoots rockets at you. Homing rockets. And quite dangerous. And the next one will be our trigger for the exit, so we have to kill him really fast. So once again, we're gonna use the ion bow. And there was the deacon shooting me in the back. Alright, once we leave the train, this level is gonna have, well, several Wendigos. Didn't quite hit him in time. So ignore him. Oh, that was like instant. So I jumped on top of the door there and looked through that tiny gap, holding down E. As soon as you have like a pixel line of sight with that switch, you'll activate it and unlock it. That Wendigo didn't come out. Interesting. Guess he was shy. And finally, this 4th Wendigo, we just go ahead and kill. Because we have to hit that, unlock that door, and that's too slow. Alright. Next level is going to have another of these backtracking sections we can open up and sequence break. It doesn't save like as much time as the first one I demonstrated, but it's still pretty significant because we don't have to pick up a blue key card anymore. And that one blows up on its own because there is a little spider drone hanging down right there. Oh. Hold still. Okay, you know what? We're using this. Yeah. Some careful platforming to do right here. Into the control booth. SR-15 across that track there. This guy will turn invisible. See, I just bumped into him. That's one of his powers that he has. You know, at the start of the next level, you can just hug the wall and it'll let you through as soon as it blows up. It does no damage to the player. It's just audio and visual. And the next trick is... It looks easy, but it's really not, because it requires about 5 inputs to pull off and a very precise angle. There we go. Second try. And now once we get into the water, if you start swinging your electrifier using the primary fire, you can swim twice as fast, negating the need for the protective suit here, because we only take about 4 damage total. I can hit the switch, use the jump boots to get it back across. Frame perk, activate that switch as we pass by. Taking some damage here, so I'm going to grab these out. Alright, now we're going to get our little spider drone friend to give us a boost up. jump on top of that broom, strafe into that box. And then we get locked in here, and I'm gonna ready up a bowling bomb. Only 2 of them came out. What is going on? I've never seen that many get held up in there.
I'm sorry, Shelley, but we've had another malfunction. Don't fret. The good doctor will give you a lift.
Alright, so this next map is the last level for this zone, which has a boss fight, which is 2 enemies. So the idea is to get them to line up. They're moving far away from each other. That's not good. And this would not be an optimal fight, because they separated. But we made it work. Okay then, this level has one of the hardest tricks in the entire speedrun. The hardest of all of them I didn't even do, and it's right at the beginning of the run. If you want to see that, just watch the world record. Don't want to do that, switch the gun. I'm gonna stop right here. First try, and in a marathon no less. So, yeah, it turns out grenades have collision, and we can bounce it off of that wall and get across that gap. There we go. Now the next level's got a trick, one of my favorites because it's one that I found by accident. It involves something known as sector over sector. And to explain basically what that is build engine is similar to Doom in that there is no ability to make rooms over rooms. So instead it uses sectors over sector, where in this case there's a pipe we need to go through, and we would have to spend about 10 seconds finding the valve to turn on the water to fill it up. But instead, because these pipes exist in the same space, we can get the game to think we're supposed to be in there already by getting a boost off of that spider drone. So here we are, we're swimming in sewage. And because of the RNG involved with that spider drone, I named this the crapshoot. Anyway, jump on that. Oops, okay. And that is why we quick save. Now, again, there's some geometry sticking out here we can strafe into and get boosted up. That guy dodged right at the last second. Hold still. I'm having a lot of trouble with you guys today. No one wants to give me head boosts. Another Wendigo we stun. Alright, now we've turned on the elevators. And we can proceed to the next level. So this level's got a puzzle you would normally need to solve to get the red key card, but of course The key is hidden behind some bars, and that is something we can strafe into, and it's very thin, so once you start to wiggle, you can crouch down and you clip through. Instead of solving the puzzle, we just break it. Okay then, now we're at a platforming section, so we can, no way to speed this up, we can just admire the shining carpet. This little section was inspired by games like Gex 3D and I think the third episode of Quake 1 that has this descending room, and they wanted to see if they could pull off something similar in Build Engine. And the main reason why I'm using the bowling bombs is because they drop armor shards when they're blown up. So just give us a little bit more protection there. Why did that come right back to me? That was weird. Alright, gonna set up a trap. There we go. Now we're coming up on the end of this zone. No boss fight for this one. So I've got my baton out because we're going swimming, but this is a very short one. We just need to come down here and hit that switch. And now I'm readying up my ion bow because we got a Wendigo to kill. Then we just run straight into the spot on the wall, and for some reason we get clipped up. Just some more Build Engine jank.
You'll have to forgive us. This area may be less than kind to a pathetic human such as yourself.
Alright, now there's a yellow keycard we need to grab in order to leave. And that is normally you have to hit those two switches and fight an enemy, but we can crouch down in that specific spot, and then upon standing, our hitbox is just able to retrieve that through the glass. Alright, now this is easily one of the most intense levels on the entire game, or entire speedrun. Actually, in the entire game, too. It is pretty intense, just even casually. Jam-packed full of enemies. The music is intense. And now we're gonna go do a revolving door puzzle. And I'm just gonna make it safe real quick. Almost. Thankfully, once you step inside, it gets revealed on the map. So you can have an easier time of lining up. Will this let me? Okay, good. Oops. So there is a timing and rhythm to that. It can kill your run, as you can imagine. And for that, this is one of the levels we really wanted to try to break, but there are no skips in this one. It's way too solid, and I'll show off a couple areas where we looked and couldn't find anything. All right. One of them is that the glass right there to clip through here, try to hit that switch early. Another one was coming over here. We don't need this bridge to get across there, and but this door won't open unless you hit that switch. So we've looked and we couldn't find anything. We just played this level as intended, just as fast as we can. All right, final level for this zone.
Frankly, tiring of your childish antics. Maybe needs to be put in a corner.
There's another switch down this elevator shaft, and let's see if we can frame perfect. There we go. Got it right as I fell. And then crouch jumping through that tiny gap right there. It's about the only times that we use it that way. And it just saves you from having to hit the other switch first. And that is the end of Zone 6. We got one more zone coming up, and it's just 2 levels, so we're almost done with this game. Again, I'm trying to take advantage of the sprite height, and I couldn't quite get it there. See if he's not coming to the edge. He knows what's up. All right, we'll finish him off with grenades. I need to heal up before that guy gets me. All right. Whichever one you kill last will drop the key card. And once I see the blue outline of the door or the window, I'll start charging another shot just to clear the way. And then I'm going to quick save right here because this can potentially soft lock. It's kind of rare, but it can happen where that mech, or actually either one of these mechs, will not blow up properly, and well, you pretty much have to reload a save. And this is the final boss. This part's going to get rather loud because it's normally fought in phases where we get ourselves, we jump up there in the dome, pump, shoot grenades down in there, and then we get knocked off. But we can get ourselves stuck and just pump cancel away, and we have the super damage buff, so we can make pretty short work of him as all of his dialogue overlaps. And that's it. That is Ion Fury. I'd like to thank SourceRuns for letting me show off this game. If you're interested in running it, you can go to speedrun.com/if. Find the Discord link there. It covers pretty much all the build engine games. Yeah, and next up is my run of Power Slave Exhumed.